Bob. I'm Judy LaPorte, and I'm going to be the interviewer today. And with us is Leah, who we didn't even introduce to you. Leah McBain, she's head of the library, and Sally Harris. And now tell me your name and when you were born.
My name is Bob Messenger, and I was born in 1946.
And how long have you been coming to Newbury?
Since I was 2.
And just for summers, or?
Initially, we lived in Malden, Mass. We built the cottage on the brook going into the lake by the state beach, and every weekend and every holiday, that's where we spent our time. But we lived in Malden. I went to Malden High School, and couldn't wait to get back here.
to hear. Tell us something about your mother and father.
Well, my mother's mother and father initially came to the lake and rented a place during the summer where my mother got involved with the local residents for a short time each summer. When they married, my father arrived up here, whether he wanted to or not, and fell in love with it too. So they had the opportunity to get the piece of property on the Chandler Brook going into the lake, and grabbed it, and off we went.
Do you have brothers or sisters?
I do. I have one brother, Scott, and I have 2 sisters, Diane and Linda.
And your wife is Linda.
My wife is also Linda. You got to keep it simple, you know. If you have all Lindas around you, you usually don't make the big mistake of calling somebody by the wrong name. Yep, my wife is Linda. Met her here at the lake.
How did you meet?
I worked at Arthur Larson's trading post, and they bought a place on the lake on Shore Drive, and she came into the store one day, and
Love at first sight.
From there it was love at first sight, and we just celebrated yesterday our 58th year.
Wow.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Was she also a summer person? Or
She was.
From
She
where?
was Concord.
From Concord, New Hampshire?
Yes.
And so she's been here not as long as you, but quite a while.
Well, they bought in the, I want to say the 70s or 80s. I can't remember exactly. But, yep, so that was our place where we spent all our time when we were here, either in our own place or just coming up to visit, whatever the situation was. We spent most of our time there on Shore Drive.
What are some of your special memories of this area? Memories.
Well, I know one memory, and there's a reason for it, I guess. I had just purchased a Lake Sunapee sweatshirt from the store. And we had a couple of gentlemen called the Rawlins brothers that lived on Rawlins Road, and they had a buggy with a horse, and they used to come down once a month, get all their necessities, and then go back to their place on Rawlins Road. I was assigned to go out and feed the horse some carrots. Not knowing a lot about horses, I proudly went out, handed the horse the first carrot, and he proceeded to squirt it all over my brand new sweatshirt. And that is a memory I just can't shake, because I like that sweatshirt. I don't know if you know, but carrot juice doesn't really come out all that easily. But those guys were great. It was the first time too, as a young kid, that I ever saw anybody reach in their pocket when they came down for their supplies and pull out a roll of $100 bills about this big. I had never seen that before.
Wow.
Of course, I had never had it happen to me in my whole lifetime. So, but they were great, and we enjoyed when they came down.
So did you learn how to feed the carrots to the horses eventually?
You stand behind the mouth, yes. I was standing looking at the right beside the horse, and that's not the place to be. No.
I thought you were going to say the horse bit you. But...
No, he was very polite, but not a very good eater.
What was Newbury like when you were little?
Newbury was heaven on earth. I'll have to be honest. I mean, after living in Malden, Mass, and if anyone hears this from Malden, Mass, I don't mean to be totally negative, but coming to the country was where I should have been the whole time. But you go with what you're given, and I appreciate all my folks did for us in the city, because that's where my dad worked, and that's where you have to be. But coming here to the lake, that was back in a time when, which isn't happening anymore, where you could go outside your house, use your imagination, find things to do, even if it was just with a stick in the yard, and enjoy every minute of it. I'm sorry to say, nowadays, unless you're sitting in front of a computer, playing a game. I worked for the state of New Hampshire Fish and Game Department. I didn't work for them, I volunteered for them. And in the Let's Go Fishing program. And every single year, I did it for 20 years. Every single year that we did it, the numbers would drop off and drop off and drop off, because more kids were not interested in outdoor activities. And that's a pretty sad thing to say for our society, I think. But so be it, that's where we're at.
And what did you do for work?
I was I did a lot of different things. I was a restaurant and hotel manager up and down the East Coast. Moved 9 times in 4 years one time. It was when I was in Richmond, Virginia. My kids came home from school, and I said, "How was your first day at school?" And they said, "All right." I said, "Did you make any friends?" And they said, "No, we're not going to." I said, "I beg your pardon?" "No, we're not going to." "Why are you not going to?" "'Cause it hurts too much when we leave."
Oh my goodness.
Somebody hit me in the middle of the forehead with a brick. So I left that work and started paying a little bit more attention to my children. That was a rude awakening. But we came up here. We were fortunate enough to come up here and build a house on Bay Point Road, just up from my brother. And it's been heaven ever since.
And you were basically a contractor up here, right?
Yes. Well, I initially started off, I needed work in the area so that we could build here and live here. So I initially was the facilities manager at Seminole Point Hospital when that opened. I won't get into why I didn't stay there very long, but from that point I reverted back to what I had done in college to try to earn enough money to go back each year, and that was carpentry. So my brother and I went to work for Barry Paddock and worked for him for many years, and then finally decided that we wanted to venture off on our own, and gave Barry a year's notice. We'd work everything he had scheduled for a year, and then we'd be off. 35 years later, I retired from Messenger Construction, and loved every second of it until the very end, where it was really tough getting up on the roof and stuff. But yeah, that was, met so many awesome people as clients that just were the nicest people, and that made it worthwhile going to work every single day.
And I bet you're probably busier now that you're retired.
You've heard of the honeydew list?
Yes, I've heard of it.
Well, I think mine has quadrupled since I retired. I'll never get to the end of it. Whatever.
Did your family shop right here in Newbury when you first came up here?
We shopped at the IGA down in Bradford. Yep. That was the closest and easiest one to get to, and they did a great job. And yeah, I remember going down there quite often.
Yeah.
We didn't have all the big supermarkets then.
No. But it was a nice store.
Oh, it was, yeah. And there was another one over in Newport that I can't remember the name of. That
Wasn't
went.
there Violettes or something?
A what?
Violettes?
Violets.
Violets?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
That was because the people's last name was Violet.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And what did your dad do for work?
He was a lineman for Mass Electric,
Oh,
and had his own truck, and he did all the calls that came in for emergency service and stuff. So he was very busy.
I guess. I'm surprised that you got up here most every weekend and vacation time and so forth.
If Dad wasn't able to come, we came
Oh.
anyway. So yeah, it was the start of something big.
Did you come all winter too on the weekends?
We did most of the time. If we missed any at all, it was winter time. I was involved in starting the Lake Sunapee Snowmobile Club way back when, and with a bunch of awfully nice people. So we had a reason to be in this area for winter activities. So we would still come in the winter time.
And you had a wonderful place to use a snowmobile up there.
Yeah, you can't, we've got, we had, I can't remember, I've retired from that too, 116 miles of trails in town, in the surrounding towns area right here. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And it's all volunteer. Everything's done by volunteers. We figured when we were lucky enough to be able to move into Newbury full time, we had to give back. So 20 years on the fire department as a certified firefighter and EMT, 20 years with Fish and Game. My wife got very involved with the town clerk and tax collector for a while. I was on the zoning board for a while. We felt we were obligated to give back because we were fortunate enough to be here, so
And you had.
that's what we've done.
Do you have any interesting stories from your days on the fire department?
Some which I try to forget. About 85% of our calls were medical. This was back when EMS was in its infancy, and it's come a long way since then. The highest qualification that I pursued was EMTI, which is you're able to give intravenous fluids in the field. I have to be honest, I eventually gave that up because I wasn't able to get enough experience in this rural area to keep my skills what I wanted them to be. You have to be good at what you're doing in that case. And So I did it for a while. We had a bunch of different scenes which I still can't get out of my head and probably never will. But it's amazing to me that just when you think you've seen all the different ways that somebody can kill themselves, they come up with more. It's all, but the people were the key. We were all brothers and sisters. You'd do anything for any other department member, including running into a burning building to save them if they're in there and you're not. I mean, it's that close-knit a community, and I was blessed to be able to be part of it.
Newbury's been very blessed with their fire department.
Yeah.
All through the years.
We've got some great people. Ed Thorson was one that was just my mentor. He was just a fantastic guy. Gonna miss him.
What was the community like? Did you feel?
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny you ask. When I was a child, or I say a child, up to mid-teens or whatever, I had a bunch of friends here at the lake, and at any given time, I could leave the house on Chandler Brook, walk down through Chandler Cove, and there was a path that went all the way up the side of the lake and almost all as far as you could possibly go before the terrain got. And that path was used by us kids or anybody that wanted to walk the shore of the lake. That was what it should be. Today, if you tried to walk up there, you'd be in jail, because property values have got so out of line that people are so concerned. The biggest word in our vocabulary today is liability.
Yeah.
So they don't want to take the chance of you. I used to stop and talk to everybody along the way. We knew everybody. That's what I enjoyed about Newbury when I first came to Newbury. And I guess progress has taken over, if you want to call it that, and not there anymore.
Was the state beach a state beach already when you moved there?
Mm-hmm. But the brook went right straight out.
Okay.
And it was kind of a wetland at the very end of it with wetland grasses and stuff. The beach is to the left of the state beach. On the other side of the jetty was not there. That was all swampland.
Okay.
Yep.
So it was much smaller, the beach itself.
The beach was, but it went further toward the pump station where they have to for the water to the mountain. Right now it's mostly over toward the jetty, and but it was a fairly good size.
Yeah.
Yeah, fairly good size.
Now you mentioned the Rollins brothers. Were there any other special people in Newbury that you remember?
Yep. I am an avid fisherman. I love to fish, and I guess maybe that's why Sunapee meant so much to me, because we had the greatest fishing in the world when I was little. There was a gentleman by the name of Ralph Colby that had a boat in the brook above our house, and he used to come down with his was she a paraplegic? He had to carry her to the boat, his wife, every day. And he'd get in his boat and they'd go out fishing. And he used to come in with some of the nicest lake trout you ever saw in your life. Of course, back at the very beginning, we had one of 3 lakes in the country that had golden trout. And one of the things I will remember as long as I'm alive, Marie Pepin lived right beside you, and Marie had a boathouse on the lake, she was good friends with my folks, and she called up one day and said, "Are the kids there?" And my mom said, "Yep." She says, "Bring them down. I got something special for them to do." So we went down, and we had golden trout. So she had found a way to feed the golden trout off the end of her dock. She bought cans of horse meat, and she took a little and put it in her hand, and she did this with us, and I'm never gonna forget it, because Channel 5 and Channel 4 were both there filming it. You'd reach down into the water and you'd just shake it a little bit. These golden trout like this, and it's not because I'm a fisherman, they were that big, would come up and go through your hand and take the horse meat.
Wow.
I'll never forget that. That was awesome.
Wow.
And there were schools of them. You know, they'd come in a school because they were used to getting fed.
Yeah.
And she called us down and said, "I got something I want you to do." And
Wow.
I'll never
What a
forget. I'll
thrill.
never forget that. That was awesome. Yeah.
Are they
Where-
gone now, the golden trout?
Yes.
What happened was there was a truck full of lake trout that was going up 89, and he had trouble with his truck, the aerator. So rather than losing a whole truck full of lake trout, he went to the closest lake he could find, which was George's Mills in Sunapee, and dumped them all in. Well, for about 10 years, we had what was called a hybrid trout. And that was the lake trout that had been dumped in mating with the golden. And eventually the golden were
Oh, interesting.
bred right out of existence. You know,
Where do you suppose she ever got horse meat?
that's a good question, but I was having too much fun to ask that question.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could buy horse meat in a can, but she found it somewhere.
Yeah, they can. Wow.
And what did you do for fun? I know you fished.
Yeah, well, you know, I love the woods. Always have, always will. Used to hunt all the time. Just to be able to go out and venture into an area where I haven't been before, see the layout of the land and so on, and see what I used to try to do was make myself invisible in the woods so that the animals would just come right to you. And it's amazing what you can see if you just veg out and blend into the woods. There's a lot out there that nobody else probably ever will see. And I used to love it when the bear came up on our deck and get into our bird feeders when we forget to take them in. And we had a mother and 2 cubs 2 or 3 years in a row, and that was awesome.
Did you do any sports? Oh, well, yes, I know you did snowmobiling.
Yeah, snowmobiling was my big deal. When we moved into town full time and the kids went to the Kearsarge district, there was nothing for young girls in sports. Just nothing.
Not even basketball?
There was nothing for girls when we moved in.
Yeah.
So we our two girls needed the ability to keep physical, to stay healthy. So I went to the principal at the Kearsarge Regional High School, and we actually got him to put some girls' sports into the curriculum, and that made all the difference. And it's just grown from there, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got quite a lot now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you go dancing at all?
I was in a band when I was a teenager, and didn't dance at any dances, but played at all of them. So, My wife to this day has numerous times tried to teach me how to be light on my feet, and not going to happen.
What did you play, and where did you play?
I played the drums, and we played in all the communities surrounding Boston.
Okay, down there, yeah.
Yeah.
I can just picture you drumming.
Oh, I loved it. It was great fun. I've still got the drum set that I had back in the 50s, the 60s. I've always been going to donate it to the high school, and I hopefully still will, but you just reminded me of that. Thank you very much.
Were you a member of any organization here in town besides the Snowmobile Club?
Well, let's see.
Church, Grange? How about the organization that used to, Men's Club?
No, I don't I think with the other things I was volunteering in, I was kept pretty busy. So that's where I put most of my energy, I guess. And with the fire department, you were kept very busy, so.
Yeah.
I don't honestly miss those calls at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I can sympathize.
You know, I can understand how it works, because now I'm getting older. But most folks will feel bad all day, but won't call till 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. So you just have to get used to that.
And some of the old people just sort of get scared at night, I think, too.
That's very true. I can remember one time when we had the ice storm. You remember that. I can't tell you the exact year, but being on the department, I rode with the chief of police, and we were going around to all the elderly folks to make sure they were okay and had water and food and so on and so forth. And I'll never forget driving up the old post road and having trees going down in front of us. Had to get out many times and cut the trees away so we could continue going. And
Wow.
that was nasty. Let's talk about something positive.
Did you have a party line?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, is that positive?
We had a party line, and it was 3 numbers. And the first thing you had to do whenever you wanted to make a call was, is anybody there? Because there'd be people on the other end sometimes never let you know they were there until the end of a conversation, or you said something that hit them the wrong way, whatever. And but yeah, it's a party line, and come a long way since. Yeah, I don't even have a home line anymore. I use the cell phone.
But it makes it very difficult to find you if you don't know the number.
Well, yeah, well, that's true of any phone if you don't know the number.
You just can't find the cell phone numbers.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I've still got phone books from when we used to
So do
have the
I.
landline, and I've used them a couple of times.
I miss having phone books. 'Cause
Yeah.
If you want to look up, say,
Yeah.
call Bob Messenger, and you don't have, there's no way to find it.
Exactly, exactly, yeah.
And how is it raising children here in Newbury?
After my experience with what the girls came home and told me, it was awesome. We finally had put out roots. They were able to make friends they could keep and enjoy. And yeah, that was a turning point, I think, in our time. We've been in the house now for almost 50 years.
When did you move full-time up here?
Now you're gonna make me make the numbers work, aren't you?
I won't check up.
I apologize. I cannot tell you
70s?
the exact date. Yeah,
70s.
yeah, somewhere in the early 70s, I think.
Yeah. And what did your girls do for fun around here in the summers? And
Well, my youngest daughter got the gene that I have, the fishing gene, and it's funny. We'd go out fishing, and nobody in the boat would be catching fish except for Pam. My son actually said to me one time, he says, she's got the good side of the boat, so I changed them around, and she still kept catching all the fish.
That's true with some people.
Oh,
There's
she
no
just loved
explanation.
it. My mother is the one that loved fishing.
Really?
I'll never forget the day she caught a rainbow trout, a beautiful probably 6 pounds, right off of Bay Point. And she cackled like a little kid the whole time she was reeling it in. But whether she caught a perch this big or a trout that big, she loved it. She just absolutely loved it. So I guess we got all bitten by the same bug.
Could be worse.
Could have been a lot worse, couldn't it? Yeah.
What kinds of other things does your kids do in the summer here to entertain themselves?
Let's see. Well, they were into sports. And I know in the summertime they did get somewhat of a break from that if it was through school. But we kept them into softball and stuff like that.
They swam a lot.
They swam a lot, and that was the greatest thing you could do for
For exercise.
for their
Did they
requirements.
sail or canoe?
Oh yeah, all kinds of boating, including power boating, skiing.
Water skiing?
You know, I remember when I was a teenager, Judy Jenkins, she was our top pyramid lady because she was little, and Gary Woodward and I would put on makeshift ski shows in the cove there, and the pyramid was our big thing when we get her to get up on our shoulders. So
Now, was she to do with Jenkins School of Dance?
yes, well, she's related there somehow. My apologies, I do not remember the exact lineage as to how they were related, but yep. David has been there a long time, and I just saw him the other day for the first time this year, and they're still doing the dance. They're doing great. Yeah, doing great. And he had a sailboat down in the ocean. We were fortunate enough to have a boat in South Portland Marina down there that we could live on during the summer for 14 years. And just sold it 2 or 3 years ago because we had to be realistic. And there comes the time.
Yeah.
And but he had a boat down there, and I went down and helped him with his many times. So great people, great people.
And you've seen them dance.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, they were born to do that. That's for sure. Well, his father started the thing, I think. Yeah, David's father started the dance school. Can't tell you the year, but.
Do you have a sense of Newbury as a special place? That's kind of a silly question to ask you, isn't it?
Well, it is, because it gave me a new lease on life, full time. I always loved it and couldn't wait to get back. So yeah, I've got some special memories of Newbury. Yep.
What was the mountain like when you first remember?
Well, that was back before snowmaking. And I remember one year, we had a conversation amongst ourselves up there when I first started working up there for the Mullers, with some of the guys that had been there even longer than I had been around here. And when the state ran it, without snowmaking, one year they opened February 1st. And they closed February 20th.
Oh boy.
No snowmaking.
Oh my.
And it was a non-snow year like we're getting, more frequently now. We're getting more ice and rain. But things have changed big time. Yep.
What did you do up at the mountain?
I had the toughest job at the mountain, by far. I drove the shuttle truck around the parking
Oh,
lot.
yeah, that's a rough one. Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's funny, my partner, we both worked full time, took the time to figure out, based on how big the loop was in the parking lot, in the 8 or 9 years we had been there at that time, how far we had driven. So he researched and he said, I finally got an answer. I said, what's that? He says, we have driven the equivalent of a trip from here to Alaska and back in this parking lot. But of course, over the years, it's constantly driving that loop,
Yeah.
you know. But it was great fun. That's where I met so many. I had retired at that point, and the one thing you miss when you retire is the people more than anything else.
Yeah.
So that job was perfect. I got to see all the skiers and all their smiles and all the ones that couldn't muster up a smile occasionally. But yep.
What did the town look like then? Did it look that much different?
Yes, it did. It looked drastically different. We had a train track coming up through town. I remember watching the last steam locomotive
Yeah.
came up through prior to them shutting down the line and taking all the tracks out. Then everybody who the tracks crossed their property absorbed their area in their property.
But they had to buy it.
Okay, that's correct. Yeah, but I remember them taking all the tracks and stuff out. And, seems like just yesterday.
And of course there was a house there and the station and
Right. Well, the station's now the
yeah.
restrooms, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. My father-in-law worked for the Boston and Maine Railroad, so yeah, I've got a lot of stuff at the house that I should donate to down for the caboose area there, because it's Boston and Maine stuff.
Oh, railroad stuff. They would love
Yeah,
that.
I know they would. I haven't
Yeah.
got to the point where I could part with it yet, but I will.
What were the roads like?
Dirt.
Were they really?
Yeah, a lot of them were. Mud season was a fun. Well, I jokingly say that. It wasn't all that much fun, but yeah. But we, over the years, we've had some great road agents, and they've done an awesome job.
Oh, haven't they?
Oh,
Really?
unbelievable. We've been fortunate.
Yes. Really?
Not every town has that.
No. No. Great road crew, great police department, great
Yep.
fire department. How lucky can we get?
Well, they all realize the same thing that everybody does. You gotta work together to make it work. Keep
And it's
it
good.
good. The other thing too is, from my side of the lake, I say mine, I don't own the whole thing, I wish I did. Looking across the lake toward the Hay Estate and that whole mountain range down to the Newbury Harbor, nothing but woods.
And now,
It's all
And now,
houses, yeah.
it, from one end to the other, is nothing but homes. And I know that's progress again, but it was sure nice to look out there and see all those nice woods up there. I used to hunt up there, actually.
yeah,
It was great.
they got it.
Great place, yeah. Well, I can remember your husband used to take the biggest buck that ever lived every year off this mountain, hang it in your yard, so we could all drive by and get jealous.
He did love hunting.
Oh, I know he did, yeah.
He did.
We took diving lessons from you guys,
Oh, they were
because
special.
Linda and I both got certified.
Yeah.
We don't do it anymore, but that was a lot of fun.
He was a good instructor, wasn't he?
Oh, he was excellent. He was just an all-around great guy. I loved when I saw Wayne.
How did any world events affect you here in Newbury, like the wars or the moon landing? Any effects from? Did you serve in the military?
I did not. I was married at a fairly young age. I think I was 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we had children. And when a lot of stuff started to happen and I looked into getting into the service, they wanted nothing to do with
They weren't.
anybody in my position. So I was never able to do that. So I volunteered somewhere else.
Yeah, you served in the fire department.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, are there any of these events, world events that stick in your
I think
mind?
the moon landing and the, Kennedy assassination and things like that, at that point they were broadcast,
Yeah.
And when you can see it firsthand, unless you're not among the living or have no feelings at all, you can't help but feel something.
Are there any local legends or stories that you remember?
Local legends.
Local traditions or gatherings?
I apologize. I had thought about that situation prior to coming in here, and right now maybe I can recollect and we go on to something else right now,
All right.
but I
Believe me,
apologize.
I do that all the time. If your if your parents or grandparents were from Newbury, but
No, they weren't.
No.
No, they were all from Malden.
But did your parents spend time up here as they were growing up?
Oh, yes.
So do they have any good stories about the old days in Newbury?
They're both deceased.
Yeah.
And,
Do you remember anything they used to talk about the good old days in Newbury? Or
well, my mother had a fairly close-knit group of young ladies who all chummed around together when they were growing up here, and Kay Holmes was one, Catherine's mother, and Billy Brown, Stewie Brown's mother, was another. As a matter of fact, they were so close that we called them aunties. Auntie Kay and Auntie Billy. But yeah, they enjoyed it as much as everybody else. So that was back when, if you wanted to relax, this was the place to be.
Is there anything else that you can think of or want to talk about that we haven't asked? Any other memories from when you worked at the store?
Well, I have memories, but some of which I think are better kept to myself.
Okay.
Let me just put it this way, and I don't mean to come across negatively, but we never knew what kind of ice cream was going to come up out of that ice cream man. We had one time, we had strawberry with chocolate and caramel or something. It was a crazy, nobody could even think of a name for it. But of course it didn't last long, like all the rest of it that he made. He was just such great ice cream.
what kinds of things did you do at the trading post?
I was pretty much involved in just about everything you could get involved in, from stocking to cashiering to
Hauling stuff up from the basement.
making orders, all that stuff, and just the all around go for this and go for that. Yep.
And this was for the Larsons.
This was for the Larsons. Yep.
And so you had ice cream. What other types of things do you have at the trading post?
Well, I'll never forget that we had, I don't know what you call them, they're round cheese, comes in a round
With cheese wheels.
wheel.
Yeah.
And it was in a wooden, and we'd take the first time I ever took the top off one, and saw all the worms crawling around in there.
No.
I didn't eat cheese for
No.
quite a while, but that's what you do with blue cheese.
Yeah, I guess so.
And
Oh, good Lord.
so my job was to scrape them all out of there. And I'm sorry to be bringing this up. I don't know how we got off on this, but
Is that a blue cheese thing?
yeah, that's what makes all the.
Oh, no, really?
Just, and I love blue cheese.
I love blue cheese. I loved blue cheese until a moment ago.
I still love it.
I do too.
Well, I'm gonna try to love
I
it, but
do
it's got a
too.
whole new different perspective.
No, I didn't really say that.
Okay.
It's not the blue cheese that comes in the supermarket.
Okay. it's
No,
not
no,
blue cheese.
no. This was the stuff that
The real
came in
stuff.
the wheels. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. They get it all processed out now.
And his wife was postmistress.
Yes, she was.
postmaster.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And the post office was right where the ice cream window
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, but they had a more or less full restaurant. I mean, just certain things, right? But
And was there gas station out front?
oh yes,
There was.
And did you have to pump gas?
I did.
Okay, and did you make ice cream sodas?
I did.
One in a row, one right after the other?
Well, no, I washed my hands from
Okay.
pumping the gas first, but no, yeah, you get involved in a small operation like that. You
And it
get
was a
involved.
grocery store
Yeah.
too.
They
Yeah.
had like a soda counter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other questions, you?
I just wanted to get a full picture of what it was like. So.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about
Yeah.
the trading post with people, so that's why it's nice to have an
Yeah.
Yeah.
inside perspective. I can't think of anything else.
That was the only building there then. The rest of what's over there now was came much later. But,
Yeah.
That was the place to stop. The boats would come in, park at the dock, and get whatever they needed at the trading post.
Go in and get an ice cream soda or a sundae or.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys. This has been fun. I was a little nervous, not knowing exactly why I was old enough to be wanting people to
Well,
talk to me.
thank you for coming in. You're my press.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
See,
Red
press
one?
the red